We start in a house where not a creature was stirring, not even a grandma demon. Welcome to Camp Crystal River. My name's Nick Tracanna, and today we're analyzing Insidious in the inaugural episode of Don't Be Scared, the show where I break down the plots and filmmaking techniques to help you become just a little bit less scared of horror films. Insidious opens with Rose Byrne's character Renee waking up, this time next to Patrick Wilson and not Seth Rogen, immediately letting us know this isn't the cinematic masterpiece Neighbors. Despite the thematic similarities of a family moving into a new home with a new baby, all while being tormented by unwanted guests, bet you didn't see that parallel coming. Renee's busy juggling 3 kids, a phone call, and breakfast duty, while Patrick Wilson's character Josh is worried about the more important things.
You roll back in.
He also conveniently lets her know that he's not about to do shit for these kids today.
No, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. I'll see you guys.
Sorry, hun, gotta go, bye. Renee makes some serious progress unpacking the home by the time Josh gets back. Renee does all the dirty work while Josh gets to come home and give belly kisses all night. Meanwhile, Dalton's playing upstairs when a door to the attic opens by itself. Dalton, that curious little devil, goes inside to check it out. He can't see much with his toy lantern, so he climbs the ladder to reach the light switch, and a crack in the wood leads to a crack in the skull, and sweet baby Dalty is down for the count. The parents rush upstairs and tell Dalton,
"You cannot come up here, okay? Do not explore anymore. It's very dangerous."
but they didn't say anything about exploring in his sleep, so Dalton decides to stick it to his parents and take a lengthy 3-month nap. That young rebellious stage is no joke. It turns out Dalton's coma is an anomaly, and none of the doctors know what to do. Their only advice is to wait it out and see what happens. But all that happens is voices in the baby monitor, unexplained knocking at the front door, the house alarm going off, and disappearing faces hanging out by the baby's crib. Now this scene is fucking awesome, and it really exemplifies James Wan's ability to create tension without spoiling it for cheap scares. Nothing really happens here, and almost everything that does happen is in your imagination as you anticipate the possible scenarios. That wide open door leads us to believe that someone has entered the Lamberts' home and nobody is safe. Josh turns off the alarm and inspects the dark corners of his home in almost complete silence. There's so much anticipation built up waiting for the big scare as he cautiously walks from room to room. But in the end, there's nothing. As the viewer, this keeps you engaged in the overall story, and the anticipation carries over into the next scene. If James Wan ended that scene with a massive jump scare or an on-screen attack from a villain, all of that intensity is lost and needs to be rebuilt in the following scene. The next day, Dalton undergoes a routine checkup when Renee discovers a bloody handprint in his bed. I thought I told that nurse to stop finger painting on the job. That night, both Renee and Josh admit that they're terrified of their new house, and with a visit from the Johnny Depp demon, say that 3 times fast, they decide to get the fuck out and move to yet another home. Now this time, at least Josh's mom is around to help Renee unpack, but as soon as she leaves, Renee spots Pippi Longstocking dancing in her living room to some of Tiny Tim's greatest hits. Who the fuck is this kid, and why does he look like a historically accurate coal miner from the 1910s? Like the child labor of the Forget it. Just as she's about to catch this little shit and go all Wayne Gretzky on his dumbass, she can't bring herself to do it and breaks down thinking about the sheer brutality surrounding the American coal industry in the early 20th century. Anyways, this leads us into one of the most iconic scenes of the entire movie. Josh comes home to Renee with a priest and his mother making casual demon talk over tea in the living room. Josh's mom begins to talk about a dream she had where she went into Dalton's room and saw a demon, which gives way to one of the best jump scares in horror history. And our first look at the lipstick demon, who's actually played by the film's composer, Joseph Bashara. This moment represents the blurred line in the story between dreams and reality. Up until this point, some scenes felt safe and other scenes felt dangerous. Editors Kirk Morey and James Wan essentially split this scene into 2 sequences, one that we feel safe in, and one where we're anticipating a jump scare at any moment. The cuts between these 2 sequences give us a short subconscious break in the anticipation. When we see Lorraine, we feel like nothing is going to visually scare us because the horror lies within the scene she's building with the story she's telling. When we see the demon in the dream, we tense up expecting him to snatch Dalton, reveal his face, or any number of terrifying possibilities. Once the editors cut back to Lorraine, we think that we're safe from the demon and out of the danger zone. The eventual reveal of the lipstick demon is so jarring because it happens 2 shots after we initially expected. This signifies the point in the movie where nothing again feels safe, and it rides this tension out until the very end. After being sufficiently spooked, Josh's mom knows exactly who could come help the family.
I know someone who can help.
And it's these 2 knuckleheads, one of which is already about 2 bites deep into a fucking hot pocket. They come to analyze the house's electromagnetic, radioactive, superimposed, hauntability, and lo and behold, they confirm what we already fucking know. the house is haunted. This leads to the arrival of Elise, who's a bit more on top of things in the paranormal investigation game. She confirms that
It's not the house that's haunted. It's your son.
Elise claims that Dalton isn't in a coma, he's just lost
In a place that I call the further.
basically the upside down from Stranger Things or the bookshelf Tesseract in Interstellar. Elise later comes back to communicate directly with Dalton, but needs to dress up like an elephant to do so. She even gives her best impression of one. Dalton heard this and was so impressed that he came over to give his own impression of a fucking grenade. The Johnny Depp demon, the coal miner kid, and his lovely looking mother all come to join the party too. Once they review the instant replay, it looks like the lipstick demon from before was using Dalton as his little Pinocchio. The next day, Josh's mom comes back and reveals that she knew Elise because Josh used to astral project just like Dalton. And instead of the lipstick demon, Josh was dealing more with the grandma demon from the beginning of the movie. Granny was so close to snatching Josh's soul that she appeared behind him in all of Josh's old pictures. Talk about a photobomb. With these recent developments, it becomes clear that Josh needs to get his ass back into the further and go find his boy.
You are the only one that can bring him back.
After a teary kiss of encouragement, Elise sings Josh a soothing lullaby and he's out like a light. His first encounter in the further is with himself, and he leads him to help him find his son. Anywho, he makes his way into the bizarro version of their first house, and it seems like the new tenants are a bit old-fashioned and they have quite the staring problem, prompting Josh to challenge her to a staring contest, which he unbelievably, as the incredible underdog, wins. Now, it would take a while to recap all the bullshit that happens in this scene, but basically the gist of it is that a bunch of weird and incoherent things keep happening around Josh. In a weird way, it kind of reminds me of Eraserhead and how everything is meant to feel like our own dreams and nightmares, quickly jumping from one thought to another without really making any logical connections. If there's a deeper meaning to this scene that I'm not picking up on, I'm sure some other nerd on YouTube has made a whole video about it. Finally, we get to the red door and goddamn fucking Jack Sparrow shows up again to block his path. But this altercation only lasts a few seconds after Elise gives Josh a Rocky-style pep talk.
They're stronger than they are, Josh. You can beat them. You are stronger. You are the one alive.
And Josh shoves Johnny D back into the motherfucking Freddyverse. Finally, through the red door, Josh finds Dalton, who warns him to pipe down because there's a lipstick demon on the loose. The demon's upstairs getting his nails done and his hair did to tiptoe through the tulips, and honestly, it's kind of a fucking vibe. But after all this self-care, it seems he neglected his oral hygiene because just hissing at Josh is like a right hook from Tyson. He then marches over to Josh with a shot that I just can't take seriously after seeing this behind the scenes clip.
If you wanted hooves walking on the floor, hey, guess what? You stick it on 2 sticks and you just sort of stomp it along the floor and you just shoot the close-up of the hooves.
If you're ever scared during a horror movie, just remember there's probably 30 people in a room doing some cringy ass shit to make it happen. Josh and Dalton then escape from the red room and the lipstick demon just glares at them with his cat eyes. Because laughs are cheap, he's going for gasps. Now Josh has Dalton, but needs to find his way back to his physical body and out of the further. But all the undead spirits are making it really difficult. They finally make it back into the house, but fucking split up immediately. Why the fuck would you slow down now? Josh uses the opportunity to get a few things off his chest towards Granny.
Get the hell away from me! Get away from me!
Meanwhile, Dalton's fighting for his fucking life being chased by the lipstick demon. Hey, Josh? Maybe you should help out your son instead of doing whatever the fuck you're doing. You're literally 5 steps away from saving him and yourself. But hey, confront your demons, heal from the past, all that in a bag of chips. Finally, Josh and Dalton return to their physical bodies unharmed and are hungry for some spaghettis. But something just doesn't feel right. Elise senses something evil within Josh and snaps a candid photo of him. But Josh doesn't appreciate her exposing him on such a bad hair day. So much so that he chokes her to fucking death. Holy shit, I thought the movie was over. Once Renee enters the room, she checks the camera and sees that Granny actually entered Josh's body, not Josh himself, leading us all to wonder who's who and what's what in the real world after all this dream walking. And there you have it. Insidious is one of the scariest movies in horror history, and we made it through together. If you have any suggestions on what to cover next, drop a comment and let me know. Until next time, I'm Nick Tracanna, and this is Don't Be Scared.